Don't be the dressing room DJ. Let your pals take care of the tunes. Drive smart. Shelley Kerr, how are you doing?
I'm very well, how are you?
Thanks very much for doing this. Absolute pleasure to meet you.
And you too.
I was excited to meet you actually.
I'm excited too.
Do you know what? I done a Herald thing in Grand Central in Edinburgh. I absolutely talked you up to the masses. Have you heard that?
Oh, did you?
I did. I like the way you're talking that, so.
I might listen to that.
I think you should. I think you should. It'll be a big ego boost. By the way, what a scheme, eh?
So, yeah, this is where it all began. And actually, this car park, although it's filled with cars now, there's hardly any cars. There was one lorry and we used to play football against that wall. And there was a woman that stayed in the house in there, and I think she got her window smashed quite a few times. But you hardly see any kids playing football
and
here
look
now.
at that, no ball game sign up there.
No ball game sign.
Does that hurt you?
Yeah, it does, because do you know the women and man and family that stayed in there, they would give us a wee row, but nothing more than that.
Yeah.
You know, just let us play because we're kids.
Enjoying yourself,
Yeah.
exactly. It's sad times, eh? But I can't believe, like, we were in the car park before and people are coming up, hi Shelley, so what a community, eh?
It is, I think we're always grounded as a working class place scheme. The houses, I was born in 1969 and these houses were built in 1969, so a lot of the families are still here, and it's great when I go back and visit my mum and dad. They're always pleased to see me.
Can't believe you're 50. Right, well, we'll drive on to the wee park that you used to play in as well. We'll go there first.
Of course. This pitch here, Simon,
Yeah.
I have to be honest, I'm going to just pull over here
Right,
just
go
now
for it.
because right away, this kick pitch wasn't built, and none of these swings or anything like that, the playground or anything, it wasn't there.
Right.
So what we used to do here was the whole village played football. It was like 20 a side.
Brilliant.
And we used to play diagonal so that the pitch was made longer. You made up your own rules.
Brilliant, eh?
And
You were a coach even back then, making up diagonal pitches?
Well, I don't know so much about a coach, but I was probably one of the youngest. And I had two older brothers. My sister didn't play, but my two older brothers said, if you want to play football, you need to be able to run as fast, you need to be able to tackle,
tough,
and you need to be tough because it's a tough game to play. And so I found myself right at an early age always having to be strong and having to be challenged if you were allowed to play.
Was your brothers any good?
But both of them were okay. They were quite tough players. They both played junior football for a long time, and my two nephews played professional football.
Did they? Who for?
Yeah. So Rhys McCabe, he was at Rangers initially.
I played with Rhys at Portsmouth.
Yeah, no, he told me all about you.
Oh, did he?
He did.
He's a good player, by the way.
So
Technically very good.
Yeah, and
just a fat wee dick. I need to cut that out.
so Rhys McCabe played in Callum-Fordyce, so both of them are the same age. So
right, I know that name as well.
Rhys is over in Ireland now playing at St Pat's, and Callum's playing for Airdrie. So we've got a footballing family, and
And is your parents like that as well?
No, my dad didn't play or anything like that, but they really like football. So this was where it all started.
This is where you learned your trade.
Every single day in life.
What was it, straight home from school and then out?
Straight home from school, and there's another wee place where I'm going to take you right now, because there's a smaller area, but this is, if everybody was playing football, you'd get maybe 20, 30 people here.
Great having this on your doorstep,
From the whole village, yeah, brilliant.
Amazing.
Minus take all the swings and whatever away, just have
leave
football.
the football pitch,
just have football.
Was there ever anyone, when you were younger, obviously with being a girl, was there anyone that ever tried to put you off doing it?
Loads.
Was
I mean, my barrier started then because you get called a tomboy. It's a local neighbour.
Brilliant.
I got called a tomboy, even teachers, a lot of teachers, although my art teacher, it was him that got me into the school team.
Right.
But a lot of teachers tried to put you off playing because it wasn't deemed the right thing to do for a girl to play, football. So it was tough. I would come home and sometimes just be distraught because, people didn't want me to play football. So it's like this little area here, I'm just going to pull over.
Okay.
This grass area here, I played every day with my next door neighbour, a guy called Kenneth Whalen. He stayed next door and his parents still stay next door to mine. And we play endless hours here, just 1v1, the usual jackets down, jumpers down, goal post, take turns each of going in goals, tackling, you name it. And then if there was more players, that field at the time was obviously a bit flatter, and we used to have, 10 aside, 11 aside, whatever the numbers were.
Tremendous. Love it.
And I actually broke my arm in that field.
Did you, right?
Yeah, I broke my arm, and I was 5 at the time, and I couldn't get over the fence because I was in pain, and my mum was at the back, and my brothers got into trouble because they still carried on playing football, and I just left me.
I love it. Quite right.
You see on the left-hand side here, but you can't see for the trees, but this is Polbeth United Community Club. So
is this where you took the under-11s?
This is, I took the under-11s. It was my very, very first team that I coached, and I think it was probably about 1988, 89. We used to train up at the old high school, but this is their facility now, so if I just drive in, I'll probably park up here because you can see all the pitches. So they've got a little clubhouse here.
Yeah.
So you can see it there, Linefield Park it's called.
A few beers in there?
No, it's they sell healthy things.
Oh, rubbish, not
They sell healthy things. So if I just drive up here, you've got the 2 pitches here, and then you've got another one further down. So
great setup, that, isn't it?
It is. It's really good. And as I say, I took my first ever coaching job, Polbeth United, and it's funny because I wasn't allowed to play boys football when I started off.
Oh, really? Was that not? Because when I was younger, girls played with the boys.
Yeah. So I played for my primary team, but I couldn't play for my local club because they didn't have girls football, and you weren't, as a girl, you could only play up until a certain age, so I wasn't allowed to play club football.
So just with the pals and that was it?
Just with my friends until I was about 13, and I went and played. There was only about maybe 20 women's teams across the whole of Scotland, in comparison to 12,000 girls that are playing now. Wow. And so I went and played senior women's football when I was 13.
No way.
But this pitch in particular brings back great memories, because we were playing a friendly game when I played at my school team, and we played Polbeth United, and we beat them 5-2, and I was only 11. How good's my memory?
Amazing.
But it's always good when you score 2 goals. I scored 2 goals
on
against
that pitch?
on that pitch. One of them was a penalty. And this clubhouse now, they've got all their changing facilities, and I donated one of my Scotland tops and a cap in there, so they've got it up on the wall, which is brilliant.
Brilliant stuff.
And I'm really pleased to see that they encourage girls to play football, so it's brilliant.
Can I just ask you, I take under-11s, boys, what do you think is the most important thing for kids at that age to be? What was your philosophy when you were coaching kids at that age?
Do you know the biggest thing with kids is have fun? There's so many times that I've been up here walking the dog, and you see at times other teams and the coach and the manager's playing right wing because they're walking up and down the touchline. I hope you don't do that.
Commentating, I hate that. No.
So you've just got to let the kids express themselves and make mistakes and go and let them play. Obviously, as you get to elite level and so on, and professional level, that needs to change because there is an element of critique. But when they're young, give them freedom to play.
I couldn't believe when I found that you were a centre half. I thought you'd be like a silky midfielder or something. So what kind of centre half were you? Was it a Colin Hendry type, or was it an Effie Ambrose?
Oh, I was rough.
Oh, you're rough.
I was quite tough and aggressive, but controlled aggression. I was very smart. I would always say that I probably wasn't the most talented player, although I did have some talent. But I worked hard and I could read the game. I had a real art in reading situations, and for the whole team, I always had leadership qualities, which helped the team. I think my dream car would probably be a Jag.
Oh, nice and classy, a Jag.
Yeah, I would go for a Jag. You know, the sport, the X. I think is it the X type? And
have you seen the new sporty Jeep?
Aye, the F-Pace.
Belting, eh?
But
you know your cars, didn't you?
I'm not that right into cars, but I like a nice car because I spend a lot of time in it, and it has to be comfortable, of course.
Do you do a lot of talking in the car as well through the Bluetooth?
Do you know, I try not to.
Right.
I use it occasionally, but I'm trying not to because you've got to get a bit respite as well, and I like to concentrate when I'm driving, I really do. My daughter says I'm like driving Miss Daisy because
yeah.
I drive. I don't think I stick to the limits, you know, because
Safety,
I think it's important, you know.
The rules are there for a reason, aren't they?
They are.
What about music? What do you listen to in the car?
Anything.
Do you, right?
Anything. I listen to Ferry's podcast.
Yeah, Shelley. That's why we've got you on.
I listen to a lot of football, and then just some playlists that usually my daughter puts on my phone for me, and I play it through kind of the media channels. Just
back to the school, I actually wanted to ask you, because you never done great in school, did you?
No, I mean, even when I was at school, this was funny, because you talk about, you know, judging people. We actually got in your report card what you were. So say there was 30 in my class, like I was 16th out of 30th.
So that's not too bad.
It was okay, but being competitive, you would want to be up there in the top 10. But no, I was just average at school. Didn't go to higher or further education. I left school 16, 17 and went into a factory. Worked in a factory for 17 years. It's a factory in Livingston called Mitsubishi Electric, and they made VCRs. Can you remember VCRs?
I had a VCR.
Did you? So
I'll not tell you what I watched on it, but I had one.
Football.
Always. So did you enjoy that?
I did. I started off as a production operator, and when I finished, I think maybe 2001, 2002, I was a manager.
Right.
So I was responsible for 2 or 3 production lines.
See, while you were working in the factory, was it always your burning desire to do football?
Aye. I was developing, obviously, going through the coach education pathway at that time. I was still playing. I was a national team player at the time as well. So you're developing all the other skills, but I have to say my time in the factory has helped me in management, because you had to hit targets on a daily basis, and you were getting scrutinised to the max. It was high volume production lines, so you had to produce the goods every day, and if you didn't, you know, there was people getting sacked.
Yeah.
So it was a very disciplined organisation, and I learnt a lot about people when I worked there.
See, when you're in the factory, and obviously you were a national team player, would you get a lot of attention in the factory? Or?
No, really. No, not really. My bosses were really good because they were into football, so they helped in terms of time off. They were really, really good at giving me, you know, extra holidays to go and play with the national team, which I needed, because you know, even now it's up to 60 days a year that the players can be away.
Is that right?
So it's quite a lot. So it's hard for employers, you know, when they've got someone in there that's combining a sporting career. But they were very, very supportive.
And how much a buzz was it to go and play for Scotland?
I loved it. I think nothing. I mean, that's what everyone. See, when you start kicking a ball, you do it for fun initially, but everyone runs about a pitch scoring goals for Scotland, don't they?
Definitely.
That's it.
Right, where are we now?
You haven't got a clue.
The old juniors. I know it's a junior pitch, I can tell.
It is. This is Stonyburn Juniors, known as the Fulshe.
Right.
So,
what's the Fulshe?
That's their nickname.
Right.
So, I'm going to just come up and park up here. So, that's the stand, and that's the pitch in there. So, this is this place out here brings back so many memories. So when I played down south from my playing career, I played for Doncaster Bells, and both West Calder Juniors and Stonyburn trained out here.
Right.
So there's a little kind of 3G area. That's where I got most of my injuries.
On the 3G, do you not like it?
No, the 3G, playing with the men, training with the juniors.
So you would train with the juniors and play for the...
I trained with Stonyburn and West Calder. I know the managers there, David McMillan, who he still has dealings with the club. He still operates in a voluntary role with the club, and but I trained here once a week with him, sometimes twice a week, and it was brilliant. And then my first kind of senior management job was out here at Stonyburn. I was assistant manager for 3 seasons. So the manager was a guy called Andy Johnson, and it was so funny. The very first night, first and foremost, the committee came to my door and said, "Look, our manager's just left, and we've not got anybody to take training. Will you come and take training?" So I said, aye, of course, no problem. I knew most of the guys. So so I turned up here and I went out on the pitch, and the guys are all out on the pitch. And I went over, a few of them I knew, a few I didn't. And I went over, I says, look, words along the lines of, you're bottom of the league, your manager's just been sacked, and now you've got a bird taking your training session. I says, don't worry, you're in capable hands. Took the session and it was absolutely fine. The guys were great. And then the new manager got appointed. It was a guy called Andy Johnston, and he phoned me, and I'd known him for a long time, and he says, how do you fancy being my assistant? So I did, and it was 3 years. I absolutely had a brilliant time.
Quite brave of him to take you on, wasn't it?
Aye, very brave of him, and obviously brave myself, because there's some banter at the juniors, that's for sure.
Did you get a bit of...
I got a bit of stick.
Yeah.
I think he quoted, actually, before the World Cup, there was an article in one of the newspapers. We were through at Saltcoats. We played Saltcoats in the Scottish Cup.
Right.
And it was
the old Ayrshire mob can be quite hard, can't they?
It was a really tight game, and I think we were winning 2-1, and there was like literally 5 minutes to go, and I had been getting pelters on the side, things like, what, home down the island and stuff like that. So I never rose to the bait or anything like that. And then, as I say, it was getting near the end of the game, and we were under a bit of pressure, and it was packed out at Saltcoats, well, as packed as it can be. And so the ball came over to the touchline, and I remember it well. And Andy obviously kind of he spoke about it in the paper about me, and the ball came in my head, and I headed it onto the railway line, and they were going crazy, because obviously someone, junior football, it's no multiple ball system, so this ball had came out, and there was literally minutes to go, and I've just flicked it with my head onto the railway, and I went, oh sorry, and they were going absolutely crazy.
That's how you get them back, innit? But see, when you were getting that stick, did you never think, like, this is not for me?
No, never, because when you're a kid, a girl, 3, 4 years, 5, 6 years old, and people are going, oh, there's a tomboy, you just get on with it. It's not right, and it's not like that now, thankfully. It's changing the landscape, and the girls' and women's game's changing, and there's not that same stigma. But back then it was pretty tough.
Yeah.
It was pretty tough, but I was really, really strong, and to be fair to the guys that gave me the stick after the game, they were very apologetic and looked just a bit of banter and whatever else. But sometimes it could be hurtful, but it was a real
thick-skinned a bit.
It's made me thick-skinned for sure, and I have to say that even from a coaching perspective, coaching the guys, because a lot of guys that play junior have been ex-senior players and ex-pros, and it was really, really good playing a physical game and trying to get results, because even the spectators, they're on your case, they're on the players' case.
Did you never bite back to the spectators now?
No.
Never?
No. It's not worth it. You're there to do a job, and when you're a football manager or a coach, that you're responsible for things, so you've got to try and stay professional.
Back on to Scotland, how different is the setup now compared to when you played?
Huge.
In terms of professionalism?
Well, put it this way, I got my first cap in 1989, and I had to pay 50 quid.
What, to play?
I had to pay 50
No
quid
way.
for the hotel. And I was a sub that day. My first cap in 1989 was against England.
Right.
We lost 3-0, by the way, and I actually came on as a striker. I used to play up front back in the day when I could.
Target?
Aye, target, hold the ball up, link up player, crosses into the box.
Oh, that's right.
No, all the subs had a tracksuit. Like, somebody had the top on and somebody had the bottoms, and now, the players have got access to the very best of everything.
And the best kit man in the game, Mark McKenna.
Mark McKenna, he is the best kit man in the game.
His part's terrible, but he's a good kit man.
He's very good.
Initial steps into management, was it Hibs player manager?
Kilmarnock first.
Right, okay.
So Kilmarnock, Jim Chapman was the manager, and he left, and it's the usual, isn't it? It happens all the time in football, whereby it's usually the oldest player
takes over.
or the senior player takes over for a few games, and the rest is history. But
see, when he went though, did you straight away think, I want that job?
No, I didn't want it.
Why not?
I didn't want it because I wasn't ready, because I still wanted to play, but it was a quick fix. You know, the people that were responsible for the club said, look, you could do it just now, just do player coach, and because it affects your game so much.
Oh, does it?
Oh yeah.
Why is it like you feel like you kind of, if you're having a stinker, I'm going to need to tell it?
Definitely. Then training wise as well, you can't train the same because you're trying to coach as well as train and get your own intensity in your training, so it's so tough.
So did you not enjoy it?
No, I did enjoy it, but I felt it was tough, and it was only a short fix, so you've got a time limit on it. Do it for the time. And so I done it at Kilmarnock, and then again I done it, so I've done it 3 times actually. Done it at Kilmarnock.
You didn't hate it that much, you've done it 3 times.
Done it at Kilmarnock, done it at Hibs, and then done it at Spartans player coach.
Right, I need to ask you, managed Arsenal?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Do you remember getting the phone call? Or?
I did. I got the phone call on a Sunday out the blue. I was working as the under-19s head coach with women, and I had a technical role as well, so it was a dual role, and I got the phone call for Arsenal. I thought it was one of my pals winding me up.
Right.
And no, I got the call from Vic Akers, who's the kind of renowned kit man down there. He was responsible for the women's team, and he asked me if I would be interested, and I said, let me think about that. So after 2 seconds I says, yeah, I would be interested. So I arranged to kind of fly down and meet with him, and spent the day down there at their training ground, and got offered the job, and yeah, took the job, and loved it. I loved it.
I've been at the training ground, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Fantastic facilities, and it's even better now. They've done more extensive work in integrating the women's team, and they've almost got their own part of the building now, which is fantastic for them.
Did you get to have any sort of relationship with Arsene Wenger?
No, really. You would see him in the passing, but we trained, the men's team obviously were in during the day, and we trained at night, so you really didn't see them that much.
How was the standard of the Arsenal women?
It was great, although, you know, that's only 6 years ago, 2013, and they were still only training twice a week at that point, so they weren't professional at that time. So now they're fully professional, which, you know, has obviously helped the national team, but it's also helped the league down there in England. The FAWSL they've got a bit of resource now, and all the clubs, they've got a club licensing criteria which they've got to fulfil, and it's certainly added to the professionalism down there. So it's a big thing down south now.
Could you notice a big jump in standard between Arsenal and the Scottish teams that you?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, I think even although probably the Scottish teams, a lot of them were training as much, if not more, it was just a level of player. You know, your players like Kelly Smith, who at that time was just one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. I had brought in 2 Japanese World Cup winners who are just the most humble people ever, and you know, you had Rachel Yankee, Alex Scott, and Kim Little was there at the time as well, and Jane Ludlow. So you had the best kind of home nations captains there, best players, and it was a phenomenal team. Did
they players, because they are such household names, did you feel a bit worried about going to managing those players?
No, I've always been a person that's been confident in my own ability. Obviously I was probably unknown to them, so I would imagine there was a bit of apprehension on their part. For me, I just thought, you know, I've got to, for me to get to the next level, I have to be coaching a team that are semi-pro, that with a potentially being professional, and that will develop me as a person as well. So it was great. I had no qualms at all about going down there. I moved obviously my daughter down there. She was in 5th year at school, and I took her out of school. You know, that was a tough decision, but she wanted to come, so it was really, really good. It was really good. I enjoyed my time down there.
Right, back onto the driving, living in London traffic. How hard is that? How frustrating?
Oh wow. It's like roundabouts onto another roundabout onto another roundabout, and you're going, you know, here you go at the 2nd exit if you put your sat nav on. I think it's about at the 9th exit.
Did you live quite close to the training ground?
I did. Sometimes I cycled actually to the training ground.
I love an old cycle, do you?
But fair play to my daughter Christy, she actually took driving lessons down in London.
No way.
Yep. And
she's a genius.
apologies for saying this, Christy, but she did fail her test down there.
We'll cut that out.
But she did pass it up in Scotland. But I said to her, look, take driving lessons here, because if you can drive here with all the traffic, then you'll turn out to be a very, very good driver. So she took driving lessons down in London, but the traffic was horrific.
Are you quite a chilled driver? Or do you get?
I'm quite chilled. You know, if somebody makes a mistake when they're driving, you know, they maybe cut out in front of you, as long as it's not the end of the world and they bump into you, it's a mistake, you know. But I think that you have got to be focused, hence the reason why I sometimes now, even although I've got Bluetooth, I genuinely switch my phones off, because no distractions.
Good. Everyone watching should do the same. And Alex Scott on the telly? She's been great, hasn't she?
Alex has done absolutely incredible with her career, and latterly, you know, I think she signed on a 2-year contract with Arsenal. But what a lot of people don't recognise with Alex is that she actually went and done a degree, you know, a media. She went while she was still playing, and managed that, as well as play with England, as well as play with Arsenal. So she, in the background, was developing, you know, what she was going to do next when she finished football.
It doesn't just happen by fluke, does it?
It doesn't just happen by chance. She's worked hard to get to where she's got to. I'm looking forward to seeing her on Strictly.
Oh, she's going on it?
She's going on Strictly.
Tremendous. Would you ever go on that?
Never.
Why? What about the jungle?
I could maybe do the jungle, no, I'm not so sure Strictly's my cup of tea.
I think you've got snake hips now.
I'm alright a dancer.
I can imagine you, right?
No,
you and Anton de Beek.
I wouldn't do. Probably the outfits would kill me.
How?
I'm not really keen on the outfits.
We'll get you a strip. You can do it in a strip. Was it arranged to leave Arsenal?
Sorry?
Was it arranged to leave Arsenal?
It was, but I had to think personally, it was a more personal circumstances for me. I'd been away from home and I was getting consumed by it. And because it was myself and Christy down there, you're away from your family, I'd taken her out of school, and I was just getting consumed by it, and things just weren't moving fast enough for me, you know, in terms of my own personal situation, and I just felt it was the right thing to do. I really did. And sometimes your gut feeling, in my opinion, all my experiences, your gut feeling is usually the right one to go with. And I did.
It's worked out no bad.
I made the decision to come back home, and it worked out pretty well for me.
Is there a job in football that would tempt you away from the national job?
I love my job. I mean, when you play for your country as a player and then you get the opportunity to manage them, it's a dream come true. So, you know, this job for me is the pinnacle. But I've never hidden the fact I've always had aspirations of working in the men's game.
In the men's game, so you want to go back? Because the reason I'm putting this off a bit, we want to speak about when we get to Stirling University, but you obviously took over at Stirling. Again, can you talk us through the time you first got approached and your feelings when that happened?
Well, it's gone back to when you were implying that I wasn't very good at school. So
right.
So when I finished at Arsenal, I thought, right, okay, what do I need to do to become better? So you do a lot of reflecting on my time at Arsenal, and by having my pro licence, you'd start to say, how do I separate myself from a lot of coaches, because the market's saturated with good coaches. Whatever any journalists say or any media outlets say, we've got a lot of good coaches. And how do you set yourself apart? So it's the experiences that you get exposed to, the challenges, but also you've all got a pro licence, because that's the highest coaching award. You need to work at the highest level. And I thought, well, most coaches and managers in football come from a practical background, so you've either had a playing background, but now more and more the boardroom, chairman, chief execs, they want you to have a knowledge on other components, i.e. budgets, finance, managing up, managing down, dealing with different stakeholders, commercial partners. You are the face and at the forefront of that club. It's not just picking a team to win a game on a Saturday and a Sunday and get 3 points, and if you don't, then you're getting sacked. So there's a whole host of things that you need. So I actually said, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest a wee bit of my savings, and I'm going to go and see if I can get a place at university and do a sports management degree. I'll do a master's. Now, bearing in mind I didn't even have an undergrad, I felt my life experience might help me get on that course. So I was going to do that over a year, and I thought, great, I'll go and do some consultancy work. Still felt that I had enough experiences and that I could get enough work to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And get some beans and toast on the table for Christy. So I applied to go to Stirling Uni on the sports management master's degree course, and I got a conditional offer. So the conditional offer was getting references about my professional career pathway through different working environments, and also my coaching certificates as well, i.e. my pro licence. So got that secured, so I was about to embark on that in September, and then I was doing a bit of scouting for a team. I was at a game, met a guy that I knew, and he, what are you doing? Are you doing anything coaching wise? I says, no, I'm doing a bit of scouting, I'm going to go to uni. And he says, well, I've heard that Stirling Uni, the men's team, the Lowland League team are looking for a coach. They might be looking for a coach. Would you be up for that? And I thought, playing Lowland League, play British universities, plus it's almost like full time, and you're going to get an opportunity to work, because it's a scholarship programme, so you're going to get an opportunity to work with players that have been in a professional environment. So the criteria, to kind of give you a bit of context, the criteria is it's players that have been released out of contracts for clubs.
Right, okay.
And then maybe they then think, well, actually, maybe I should go and get an academic career behind me and still play a bit of football into the bargain. And do you know what? The scholarship programme up at Stirling Uni, and I'm not just saying this because I was the coach, it's fantastic. How many footballers, young guys, get released from contracts for big clubs and they don't play again?
No, there's loads,
There's lots. So this programme allows you to continue playing at a decent level, almost daily coaching, plus at the end of 4 years you walk away with a degree.
It's a bit like the America system, isn't it?
It is. So I thought, oh, that's quite interesting. So I made a few inquiries, and then the job was advertised, and I was asked to put my CV in. So, and I was like saying, well, just let me get an interview. If I can get an interview, then I can
talk my way in.
I can pretty much so. No, I can highlight my qualities as a coach and manager. I've been in programmes similar. I've developed a programme. I've worked with youth players. Okay, it's men, but at the end of it, this is a different programme. And so anyway, I got a phone call to say, we're inviting you for an interview, and I went, great. That's all you can ask for. You put a CV in, you know that it's going to be, inundated. They're going to be inundated with applicants. So I had my interview on the Monday. It was the following Monday I went for my interview, and it was great. There was about, I think, 5 or 6 on the interview panel, and went through the interview, and it was fine. It was a seamless process, and just speaking about my experiences. There was a few questions in there, and then so I was driving home, and I got a phone call, and I stopped the car, obviously. Didn't have Bluetooth in my car at that time, but stopped the car, and it was actually at my old school. I pulled over and took the call, and it was Raleigh Gowrie, who was the lead guy in all of it. He was kind of head of kind of performance there at that time, and he said, Shelley, he asked me how I thought the interview went, and you're almost going, Isa, come on, get to the point. And he said, we're delighted. We thought that you'd done really well, and we'd like to offer you the job. And he said, there's one wee condition though, and he said, we understand that you've applied to do a master's at the uni. So I says, yeah, and he said, you're doing it over a year. He says, look, I think it would be really tough for you to do it over a year. And he said, how would you feel if we offered to pay for your masters, but you do over 2 years? And I was like,
perfect,
no problem. I said, and for the day I went into Stirling Uni, I met, it was the guy that was the head boss. He was the director of sport there, a guy called Pete Billsborough, who's sadly no longer with us.
Right.
And I remember him saying to me, Shelley, university is all about developing people, and our staff are no different. you're hired here because of your qualities to do the job, not because of gender. And we're going to support you all the way through. Don't focus on the results. This is a long-term project. And
that's what you want to hear,
and that was literally one of my first days in the job, and I felt so comfortable in that environment. I didn't feel any pressure, but as I say, they were really forthcoming and forward-thinking as an education establishment to make the appointment. And you know, so going back to the Monday night, getting the phone call, I said, no, I'd love to accept. And he said, so Raleigh said to me, when can you start? And I said, now. And he says, can you come in at 7 tomorrow morning? Because the boys train in the morning at 8 o'clock. So I was in the following morning, met with Raleigh, went out, got introduced to the guys, and BBC were at the campus by lunchtime because it had went, viral in terms of being a female coach in charge of the men's team. And I actually had to deliver a coaching session for BBC.
Well, how's the pressure?
With about 6 players, so that they could do an exclusive on the kind of news that evening. And it was fantastic. It worked out really well. And take the football aside, one of the toughest things that I ever had to do was that master's course over 2 years, having not studied for years, and go into that environment education. I was totally out of my comfort zone.
So you said it went viral. Did you get any special messages for? Was there any famous people that got in touch? It's
loads of other managers, just saying congratulations, well done. But out with that, we had requests. The university had requests for as far as Israel. To do interviews, like Skype interviews, because they had heard all about this appointment, so they were getting inundated. And I have to say, because there was no really any exposure to the team, the Lowland League team at that point, the boys were loving it, getting a bit of attention.
Superstars, and could you believe how big it went?
I kind of knew that it would be a big thing, but not to the degree. And ultimately, my focus was solely on trying to get a few results on the board, because at the back of my head I'm thinking, okay, you're the first female. If you lose and you lose and you lose and it becomes a habit, then you're going to get people saying, told you it wouldn't work. So it's always been something that's been in the back of my mind, whether that's been on an A licence course, a pro licence course. There's almost a part of me that thinks that you've got to do no better than everyone else, but you've got to make a good account of yourself.
So did the boys take to you straight away, or was there any challenges?
No, they were great. I think when you go to a university, still in the scholarship programme, there's certain values you have to adhere to. What was really helpful for me was we had 2 or 3 players that are non-students, so that's allowed. It's there's an unwritten rule that you can have 2 or 3 that's non-students. So we had a guy called Chris Geddes who had played for various kind of lower league teams, and he was the senior member of the squad, and I liked a bit of laugh, a bit of banter, but he was good around the changing room. And then there was a guy, the captain, Callum Burns, had actually played against and played in the same pro youth setup as one of my nephews, so right away there's a bit of respect about from kind of the family side of it. And like we mentioned earlier, when you get on and you start coaching, people forget. People forget if you're a male or female. It's really just about what you're delivering. We
spoke about obviously the difference between the Arsenal ladies and then going to a Stirling. What about coaching wise? Do you coach a men's team differently from a women's team?
Managing is different. I think I would say that it's more challenging to manage female players than it is male players.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know the reason, but this is just my opinion. I think that male players are more apt to just think about themselves as an individual and just go on with things when you're making a decision. But in a female team environment, when you make decisions, it sometimes has an effect on the whole group because they've got a close bond. Right. And then there's more emotions attached with it. As females, we are genuinely more emotional kind of people. No, I don't know, that's just me. I just think that, like I could have been away with the men's team and we're en route to a game and, for example, the bus gets a flat tyre. they wouldn't be fazed about it. And no, because that they're no bothered about getting to the game on time. They can't control it, so it's pointless focusing on it, and they just go about their business. That's just one example, and I've had experiences of that. You know, when you're travelling down south with the guys, they just get on with it. It doesn't affect their mindset in the same way, and it's almost like, you know, and not all females, but just in my experience, that sometimes when there's things that are when there's no perfection there, then it can be hard for them to comprehend how it isn't perfection. And
right.
So, and I do think when it comes to decision making, guys are more apt to just get on with things, and you know.
See, at that stage at Stirling was when you start to get good results. Do you start to think, I can go far in the men's game?
I don't think I've never been a planner. Like, a lot of people would think that I've planned to be in the current job that I'm in just now, i.e. be the 19s coach, go to Arsenal, then national. I'm not a planner. I just try and develop myself, reflect on all my experiences, learn, listen, and I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. I make mistakes, and when I make a mistake, I'll try and learn from it to become a better coach and a better person. But I think ultimately, I'm ambitious, and I think that every job's got a lifespan, no matter who you are, because you need a freshness. And I think, you know, going back to working in the men's game, there was a couple of approaches from some senior teams at that point. And
you're going to give us an exclusive now?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm a really confidential person,
okay.
But the timing wasn't right for me. At that point, I was about to go into the graduation period, so there was a few months left for me to do my dissertation, and I had worked so hard for something that I felt was really important for me in the future. So the timing wasn't right, but that's not to say that, you know, because everything in life's about timing. The job for me right now, it was the right time for me. But I think everything in life needs to be at the right time.
That must have been some feeling when you got approached for a couple of professional teams.
Yeah, it was a surprise, a pleasant surprise, and you know, I did think really long and hard about it. But I just felt, for me, I wanted to finish my degree. I'd spent 2 years there, and there was no way that I was going to, you know, give it up no matter what the circumstances. So it was a tough decision, and but it was probably the right decision.
You've said again that no secret you would like to get back into the men's game. You've said you're confident in your own ability. How high do you think you can manage?
I don't know. I'm a realist. I don't think that you're ever the finished article, and I think that you've got to go through different stages of your life and work with different players at different levels. You can't. You know, I don't think it's great when someone goes in and works at the top level right away, because where's your grounding? And some people are successful at doing it. It's not what I would do. I think that you've got to develop yourself in many different situations, and I think you've got to get things wrong. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know where the ceiling is for me.
Could you manage an SPL?
That'll be for others to decide. I know you're asking me the question twice now. Do I feel confident as a coach? I think there needs to be a starting point. You know, I've not worked in the professional men's game. I've worked in the Lowland League, albeit I've taken a women's national team. So you've got to be realistic. You know, you've got to start off at the lower level. I probably wouldn't expect someone to recruit me right into the top level, because I've not got the experience of doing that. So there's got to be a starting point. If you're asking me in terms of my ability to do the job and work in the men's professional game, yeah, I do think I could do it. For the here and now, I'm very focused on the job that I've got, but I have always had aspirations of working in the men's game. Now, could it be a manager? Could it be in a performance role? Could it be in an academy? I certainly think that, you know, I've got a lot of attributes that I could do that.
Right, before we get to Scotland, a wee car share question for you. If you could pick your dream car share, 4 passengers for a long distance journey, who would you pick? Obviously I would be one, so 3 more we need to.
Yeah. So you would definitely be one.
Paul Slane.
Paul Slane. I think that might affect my driving if he was in the car. God, that's a really tough question. Probably Sir Alex Ferguson.
Wow.
Because I just pick his brains on everything.
Have you ever picked his? Have you ever got a chance?
He actually got in touch with me when we were competing in the World Cup.
Wow.
He sent me a few messages backwards and forwards. He's none too happy about VAR. He doesn't like it.
Right, okay.
He's not a fan, but I have to say it was amazing getting a text from Sir Alex, and he was really complimentary about the team. He was provided a bit of mentorship for me and give me a bit of advice.
Amazing,
and it was absolutely amazing. So he would definitely be one.
He doesn't like VAR though, because he used to get all the refereeing decisions.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what a character, and I think my life's been consumed by football. So
do you say he's the greatest manager of all time?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, I would.
Cool, right?
I would definitely the greatest manager of all time.
Anyone else spring to mind?
I think probably I'd probably go for Serena Williams.
Right.
Just for the fact that she's a strong woman. Leadership. She's had to contend with a lot of scrutiny. She's been successful over a number of years, and I think she'd be quite good fun to kind of again pick her brain. But I think there's another side to her that people don't see, and a great sporting icon. You can see the
Me and
the
Serena we get on
direction.
well. Yeah, you're going in.
You can see the direction I'm going in here.
I hope you put me in the same sporting direction as they two now.
Of course.
Right, okay.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Right, we've got one more.
And I think one more, it'd probably have to be somebody that makes me laugh, and I'd probably maybe go a Kevin Bridges or somebody like that, just to kind of lighten the mood a wee bit if it was getting too serious.
I think Ferry would get quite annoyed with Bridges quite quick, wouldn't he?
Definitely.
What a car share that is.
Yeah.
Brilliant, good answer on the spot as well. Again, I've asked you for every other job you've had, but when did you first hear the interest?
I actually got a phone call from a recruitment company. Obviously, I was aware that Anna Signo, who was my previous coach, Anna was obviously head coach, and she was my line manager, so she'd done a bit of mentoring with me as well, and I heard that Anna was moving on. And I have to be honest, I had no intentions of leaving Stirling. I was really happy in my job because I was doing my job, I was doing a bit of lecturing up there as well, and I absolutely loved my time, so I was not remotely looking for another job. And I got a phone call from a recruitment company, and they had really just called me to see if I was interested. They had obviously been advised of who I was, what I had done, and would I be interested in the job. And I said, well, I'm happy in the job that I'm doing, but when it's your country that comes calling, then of course, and somebody that really passionate about Scotland, Scottish football, and then women's football as well. And I said yes. So I basically went through a rigorous process, and got an interview, went for the interview, and again it was a kind of interviews are
horrible.
The interviews are just, you get scrutinised to the max, and you try and prepare as much as possible, and there's always a question goes in. It's a bit like what you're doing today. Went for the interview, and then I think initially there was going to be a kind of two-stage part, but it actually turned out just to be one, and I got a phone call 2 days later to say that I had been successful. And I have to say it was a real joyous moment. It was really joyous. I was actually with the boys at the time. I was
the Stirling boys.
But I couldn't see anything. I was so it was confidential. So I could only kind of tell a few members of my family.
Who's the first person you tell you've got a Scotland job?
My daughter.
Right.
Yeah, my daughter.
And was she quite emotional?
Oh yeah, definitely. She definitely.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It was amazing. Those are the things that people don't get, and they don't recognise. You're out there kind of in the spotlight, but they don't see you as having family or having the emotional side to it. And
is that the hard bit of managing?
That is the hard part, because first and foremost, I'm Shelley as a person and a human being, and I've got feelings, I've got emotions, and sometimes people think that as a manager you've no emotions, and you're not a normal person. You're normal. We've just been to where I grew up. working class background, and
for me, you're the first person that's brought attention to women's football. That's why I started watching it. That must make you proud. I'm sure you hear that a lot.
It does, and you know, I think it's good. You've been involved in football yourself, and the pathway that you've been through hasn't been smooth either, and that happens to a lot of people. But I think my big thing is to get women's football in Scotland on the map. I was playing at a golf, a pro-am golf, and this young lad, I don't know what age, maybe 7 or 8, and he come up and he asked for a picture, and I was like thinking to myself, wow, really? A 7, it's not a little girl, it's a little boy saying, I watched the team in the World Cup. And I've had people come up and say, even when I've been out walking the dog, saying, I just want to say thanks. I know the team didn't get out of the group stages and it didn't end well, but thanks for allowing me the experience of watching a Scotland team at the World Cup. And it makes you smile, and those are the things that, you know, for me are so important. I walked the game before we went to the World Cup. We played Jamaica at Hampden, and there was 18,500 there, and people were speaking about what did you feel like in the World Cup and what was the experience like. I don't think I didn't enjoy it, you know, because the pressure increases to a degree that you've never had before, and the weight of the world or the weight of the country is on your shoulders because everyone's expecting you to do well. But I had a moment at Hampden where I've led the team out and I look up at the big screen and it's got 18,500. That moment will live with me forever, because I never in my lifetime thought that I would have seen 18,500 people at a women's game in Scotland. It's just incredible, and for me, you talk about the legacy. How can we put a pathway in place? How can we grow the game and put the legacy in where a little girl doesn't have to go through what I went through as a young kid, getting called a tomboy. No, you can't play here, this is for boys. That's something that really gives me a lot of pride. And forget the World Cup, that of course it was great that we got there, but for me the other parts are more
what you've done for the country. I know you said about Jamaica being the best, but that must be up there.
Oh, it was great, but what I would say is, for somebody that's as old as me, being embroiled in the women's game, the Jamaica one, in terms of the legacy part, where you know that the landscape has changed, was something really special. But of course that moment, but ultimately, having had an extensive playing background myself, I know what like it is being on that pitch. So really, as a coach, you're trying to just let the players enjoy the moment. I went in and I kind of started to that's us, we're going to the World Cup, and then I think you can see footage, I just kind of just go away out the circle and let them start to enjoy the moment. Did you all
get a drink together after it?
We did, actually.
Good.
We did some time after it, and it was really a special moment for us. We had a meal and a wee sit down, and it was a fantastic evening. It really was. Just the calls for home and stuff like that. It was a really nice chilled night, and then we travelled back the following day to just the media was just crazy, and the profile, it was absolutely phenomenal. And I have to say, coming back that day, my life changed in terms of the consumption of football in the World Cup. I've never experienced anything quite like it, in terms of where my head was, and I still don't think I properly enjoyed that moment, because it was relentless. It was almost like you had to ride the wave to keep the momentum going, and it really took its toll on me.
Is it a stressful job? It's got, obviously, when you see like Alex McLeish when he gets sacked and some of the things that get said about him, you must be able to empathise with that.
You can. I think with every manager, you can empathise with every manager.
Is
because
it so hard to switch off?
I think it's so hard to switch off, and you know what? No matter what you do, no matter how successful you are or how successful you've been, everyone gets a turn at getting scrutinised. And I think what people fail to take on board is what effect that has on not you as an individual, because you're in that position because you're a strong character, but what has on your family and the wider community, and that's tough. And I think years ago, before social channels, etc., it was probably easier. Now it's so tough it's tough for managers. Any manager I hold in high regard, because it's such a tough gig. It really is.
Can imagine. Big first for me as well. I think you're the first person I've interviewed that's got an MBE. How proud are you of that?
Do you know what? I can't even. It's not that I haven't accepted it, but I have. But it's like, it's one of these things that I got wind of it when we were at the World Cup, and I've not shared it properly with my family, but not just that. It's not about me. It's about, okay, it's a drive and an internal kind of dedication and passion I have for the women's game, and I've had that over a number of years. But there's been so many people that I've helped do that. But I'm really gobsmacked. Honestly, it's a humbling thing to talk to other people in different situations. But no, I can't quite come to terms with it, if I'm being honest.
Have you used it to get in a nightclub or that? Shelley Kerr MBE?
Not yet, but if you're looking to go, then we can maybe try it.
Can't wait. You said as well, obviously the job's 24 hours a day. You put so much in it, but again, how much have you put into your life trying to grow the women's game?
That is just, I don't think you could add up all the hours. I've missed so many things with my family. Like in the World Cup, I never seen my daughter. We give the players a whole lot of time off, and I didn't see her. I hardly spoke to any of my family.
Because you were working, like you were analysing other teams. Because I was just
round the clock, and because you just want to try and do your best. And
is that a wee regret maybe then?
I think there's so many things that I regret, especially with my daughter. I've missed parents' nights at school. I've missed milestones. You know, our 21st, I was going out the door in the morning to fly to Amsterdam with football. I've missed so many things in her life, and that's a regret that I have. And you know, now as I've matured, because when I played as well, I was away from home a lot. You know, I'm away 10 days playing in Algarve Cup, and my kids just started school. Nobody can ever, you know. Well, there's a lot of parents that have to go and do it, but those things are so tough to manage. And you know, there's a lot of good comes with being a football manager, but you know, there's a lot of things that are negative, and it's your family that suffer from that. And so those are the tough things about being a manager. And I definitely, you know, would like to have been there for my family. I've got a really supportive family. They've been brilliant. My mum and dad still to this day support, and you know, Christy's dad and the whole wider family and all my friends. I wouldn't be in my job if it wasn't for them, because they're always there to pick up the pieces no matter what. And I've said it time and time again, I'm Shelley from Polbeth, the wee girl that grew up in Polbeth.
On at the World Cup itself, standing in the dugout of England as the national anthem plays, proudest moment of your life?
Aye, I think so. I think any time you sing the national anthem, you know... Was it
goosebumps?
Aye, as a player and as the national team coach. But I would actually... I try and stay in the zone. So, you know, for me, there was a big crowd there in Nice, and you could hear all the Scottish support, but I try to kind of turn that noise down a wee bit to stay in the zone. So it was probably, although it was a proud moment, there was a moment just walking out onto the pitch with some of the players, and then the night before I had to do a press conference, and there was a moment when I was in the stadium just on my own, and I had a look around and I was like, tomorrow this is going to be full of Scotties supporting a national team at the World Cup, and I've played a bit of a part in that. And that's where it becomes, you know, a wee quiet moment to yourself. And then equally remembering that when match day comes, that you really need to be focused on you need to put it to one side and focus on the game. So, but it was proud. I think that, you know, I've been speaking a lot about the legacy and what that means for me, being a 50-year-old and the stigma attached to a girl playing football. But there's people that actually spent a fortune to spend their summer holidays watching the women's team in the World Cup, and there's so many good stories about our team getting to the World Cup. So, you know, as much as obviously it's a proud moment, you're playing against England, that the first World Cup ever for the women's team, there's so many other things that were positive as well.
Is there also a fact that, you know, there's 6 million people tuning in, and you think, I can't make an arse to this. Does that come into it?
I think it does. I think that subconsciously, because you go back to most managers, they're perfectionists, they're their biggest critics. So I actually felt that I had the whole country, the weight of the country on my shoulders.
Did you sleep?
No. I didn't sleep. I'm not a great sleeper, but I probably averaged 4 hours when I was there. And that it's not great because even I talk to the players about managing their energy. If you're the head coach, you need to manage your energy as well. And I learned heaps about, when you're in camp and how to get more rest and whatever. But, hopefully the team in the future get there and, there's a huge learning curve for everyone, and you learn from the outcomes that you've had as a player first and foremost, and then as a manager and a staffing group. But I didn't sleep a lot. No.
And Fergie's right, VAR rubbish, and it absolutely ruined the competition for me.
Yeah, I mean, I said before the tournament that I was in favour of VAR. And I have to give credit to the match officials, because I think after the group stages they really improved and they started to get a lot of the decisions spot on, if I'm being honest. But I think in the initial stages, the group stages, I don't think it was great. I'm not deflecting away from, we finished off, we were in a great position, we were 3 goals to the good, and we me as a head coach, I have to take responsibility, and as a collective we have to take responsibility for not getting over the line. But in all my experience as a football player and as a football coach and manager, I've never had as many kind of situations where things haven't went your way. But you've got to almost park that and look at the performance element if you want to improve for the future as well. So as much as, VAR wasn't great for us initially in the tournament, I think it got better, the officiating got better as the tournament went on, and you can see even in the EPL right now there's lots of discussion and debates, and we're only 2 weeks into the season, 2-3 weeks into the season. So it's caused some challenges, it's caused some discussions and debates, and it'll continue to do that, because I think in football we all like the human element of it. Yeah,
the human error. But you must have been proud, because I watched all 3 games and not once we outplayed. I think go to the England game, both games, England-Japan, we were 2-0 down, and both the games at half-time we made a couple of tactical adjustments. People probably afterwards said, well, could you not have started like that? Well, don't you think football's not as easy as that, and sometimes it can be less challenging when you're 2 goals down, because it takes the pressure off you, and that coupled with the fact that other teams are so far ahead. England, I have to say, the England game, they had a very good first half. We were up against 2 players that are probably 2 of the best in Europe, Nikita Paris and Lucy Bronze. Japan, they didn't get a good result in their first game, so everyone thought Scotland can take them, Scotland can beat them in typical Scottish fashion. Being involved for the game for such a long time. They're a top team, aren't they?
Japan have won the World Cup, they've been runners-up, they're a good team. So I knew it was going to be tough, and I think if we had went out there early and played a high-pressing game, I think that, we might not have got the scoreline that we got. And we finished both those games 2-1, 2-1. We put ourselves in a brilliant position. We'd rested a couple of players because we thought it would come down to the last game, and we were 15 minutes away from doing something remarkable. And
it's just the fine lines in football, isn't it?
It's the fine margins, and I think as a national team we'll learn lots from it.
That dressing room after that last game, is that the lowest you've seen?
Yeah, and as I say, I wasn't in the dressing room, to be fair, a lot, because you've got to go and do media right away now. There's all these rules and regulations that you've got to adhere to. So, but yeah, it was pretty tough picking them up afterwards.
How do you pick them up? Do you just remind them how well they've done?
Yeah, you've got to remind them on the good things and the positives in terms of, how well we done to get there, and then you've got to, almost leave time to reflect, and then look forward. We look now to embark on a Euros campaign, and that's something that the players should be looking forward to.
And we'll qualify for the Euros, won't we?
Well, you're going to be the manager, you just said, so...
Kitman, Mark's getting sacked, I'm the kitman.
I think we've got a tough group. We play We've got Finland, Albania, Cyprus and Portugal, so it's a tough group. Can we do it? Yeah, I absolutely think we can do it, and let's hope that we can get Scotland to another finals, because that's the way that you become better as a team. And again, the profile that's been raised on the back of the World Cup, then if we can increase that again, then I think we will be doing our job.
Having spoke you for 2 hours, I've no doubt you'll get us there. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much, Shelley.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, cheers.
Thank you.
In the time it takes to score a goal, you can also lose control. Don't speed, drive smart.